And this is the patch 7.1 TellMeWhen profile update. Not a whole lot needed to be fixed in this update. There was one major bug, and that had to do with the interactions with Blade of Wrath. The spell has been removed from the game, and now a new talent has been placed with the same name. And what it does now is it resets Blade of Justice on melee attacks. It's basically like how the old Art of War used to work. That led to a few poor interactions because it was still tracking a spell ID which no longer exists, causing the game to believe that the spell was always available, and that led to Blade of Justice always being displayed when it was not castable. That has been corrected now. I've also made a few tweaks to the Crusade. There were some bad interactions with that as well. They changed the way it used to work was it was just the spell ID for the buff, and now there's actually a buff aura ID separately, so that had to be altered, and that has been fixed. I also changed the interactions with Execution Sentence, so now you should see it show up a little bit more often with less combo points. It'll still track whether or not Judgment will be up for its duration, but otherwise it will show up. The last thing I fixed was I noticed there was a bug with Divine Hammer, and I went ahead and fixed that. It will show up normally, and yeah, all the interactions, anything that could have possibly gone wrong has been corrected, so that everything should be working under normal conditions and should be just fine. I did also make a few changes to the protection, although not so much in any of the mechanics of it, since the spec itself hasn't changed much. But I've moved a few icons around, I've cut off a few icons, and I just tried to make things a little bit a little clearer. All your important debuffs or buff cooldowns are on the bottom. I moved Avenging Wrath up, and as you'll see, you'll still have the Absorb, you still have how much you'll be healed, and the damage reduction, and all that other important information will still be shown there. I also added the cooldown for your Blessing of Protection and Blessing of Spell Warding, so that you can use that more effectively. The last big change to this profile is I have gone ahead and added in the Holy Spec profile. Like the Prot one, it'll track important cooldowns, it'll also track your mana, and it'll show you all the information that you need in order to be an effective healer. It'll have your wings, it'll have all your talents as you choose them. Lay on Hands and Divine Shield is there as well, in case those are important things to you to track. The only thing that isn't tracked is Dispel. I was on the fence about that, but for now I'm going to leave it out. And if you're curious, whoever has your beacon, you can go ahead and pop it, and it'll tell you right on the bottom there, both for your Beacon of Light and your Beacon of Faith. It'll show you the name of the target that currently has either beacon as well as the icon. So it makes it a little easier to track a few things. One final new feature is if you look in the top left corner of the TellMeWhen profile, you see these three icons. Those are now toggles. A lot of people have wanted to use one profile but not necessarily another. So now you can right click these toggles, set the opacity to 0, and I have just shut off the Holy Specialization. It will not show up. It has become a condition for all of the icons in that group that that icon is at 100%. You can go ahead and use any other profile you'd like, or if you want to use mine, you could always just turn it right back on. This works for all three of the specs, so if we were to switch back into Ret, then you would see if we turned off the Ret one, it would shut off, and I can go ahead and show you that right here. We'll just pop back into Ret real quick. But this is mostly just a quality of life change. It has been brought up in comments and posts that people would prefer to use their own profiles for healing or tanking, and that's perfectly fine. But should you want to use any of the three profiles, you can feel free, and this will work in your favor. One other change is you'll see underneath there, it says the version number and date. I will go ahead and keep that updated as I put out new versions. You can go ahead and take a look and see if my version matches the one that you're currently using, and choose to update if you want to. But that's everything for the Paladin 7.1. A bunch of updates are coming for other classes, so stay tuned, and I will catch you guys later.